Okay, today I'm gonna talk about the old version of LifeCircle. So typically there are two different versions are in use in the modern React projects. The first one is 16 version LifeCircle, is older version. Then big changes have made on 16.4 and .3, and then small changes on .4, and 16.4 is the stable version or current version of LifeCircle we are using. So first I'm going to show you an example. This is a simple counter, so let's just make this counter first. So counter. Counter result is counter. In this counter we have a button, say click me, add 1. The result is this dot state dot result. So we need to initialize this state. Result 0. Yes, just something like this. Now we want to, every time we click the button, the results should add 1. Now we need a add this dot set state result this dot state dot result add 1. Okay, click 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, something like this. I'm gonna show you all the hook callback functions of LifeCircle based on this example. So let's just first take a look at the old version of LifeCircle right here. So as you can see, there are 3 status. We have talked about this before, which is mounting, updating, and unmounting. This is pretty much what we do based on the components, right? So let's just take a look. There are 4 functions in the mounting stage: constructor, componentWillMount, render, and a.componentDidMount, right? So right here we do test all hooks or callback functions at mounting stage. So there are 4. First is constructor. After constructor is component will mount. and then render, and then component date mount, right? So now we have a constructor, and I'll say this is counter component constructor, and we need to inherit from parent class, and then there is a component will mount, right? After that is render, after that is component date mount, right? So component will mount. So counter component will mount. Component date mount. This is the last hook callback function we have in the mounting stage. So component date mount, counter component date mount. As you can see, oh yeah, we still need to add to show when the render function has been called. So counter component render. As you can see here, so once we load the page, at the mounting stage, we do constructor will mount, render, and DidMount. Exactly same as the order in this diagram. The mounting stage contains 4 callback functions, right? Constructor, and this thing execute at the order of what we have seen in this diagram, right? So constructor, component will mount, render, and DidMount, right? So yeah, this is the hooks at mounting stage, right? So the second is updating. Test all hooks at updating stage. So as you can see here, so actually there are several actions or events could trigger updating stage, including receive a new props here on the left side and a set state. Except this, besides these 2 triggers or these 2 action or events, we have another one called force update. So I'm gonna show you one by one from easy to harder to hard. So we just start with set state. We have already learned this before. So let's do component should component update. So counter component should update. And after that there is so set state should component update, and then it is component will update, and render d.componentDidUpdate, right? So componentWillUpdate. componentWillUpdate. componentDidUpdate. Counter componentDidUpdate. So how do we trigger this? We can just simply click the click this button, right? Because once we click the button, this add function or add method gonna reset the state of this component, right? So back to this, we do click me and click me add one, and as you can see here, so there's a warning says should component update return undefined instead of boolean value. So in this case, so in default, this hook function return true to allow you modify, to allow you refresh the page, the component based on the change of state. You have to return a boolean value if you define this function manually. So suppose we return true. Click me add one button, right? So as you can see, let me refresh the page. I click it twice, one time, right? Should component update, will update, render, data update, right? So back to this page, right? So should component update, component will update, render, data update, exactly the same order, right? So we use set state and trigger this this function hooks function, right? So suppose we return false here. Back to the page, click, and as you can see, this function has already been called, but the page we didn't refresh or didn't modify because this we only execute this should component update hook or function and didn't go through the rest of this updating stage functions, including component will update or render or component date update, none of them, because you return false. Though so you kind of, it seems like turn off a valve, right? So the rest of components cannot be go through. So now you just want to set true again, click, right? So this function has been called, right? Yeah. Now so these are the second stage, right? Updating. And also we can trigger that by using force update. After using force update, you can escape the shouldComponentUpdate function. Just go to componentWillUpdate directly, and then render and componentDidUpdate. This function is rarely used, only when you want to update component without changing state, right? So let me show you how this is triggered. Again, we want to add a function, add a button here, says click me force update. Right here we give it a function on click this dot force. Right now we need a function force, and we call this force update. Right, so we just go back to page and we click this click me force update. As you can see here, there's no should component update function, so they skip this function, right? They skip this one. So this is rarely used when you wanna refresh the page without changing the state. So what is the use case? Suppose now we turn this as false, should component update as false. So click me should component yeah, I didn't save that change. Okay, so now we have set the should component return false. So when you change the state, actually the state value has already been changed, but the page didn't refresh. So we changed it 4 times, right? As you can see here. So now we click false update, so it will escape the should component update hook and refresh the page based on the state directly, based on the state, the current value of state. Let's click me force update 4, right? Only at this certain scenario you want to use this force update, right? So as you can see, the force update didn't appear on this left circle diagram because it's very rarely used, right? So the last one is new props. As you can see, is from the left side of updating stage, right? So this is a little bit complicated right here. So let's talk about when we use this. So B, force update, right? There another way we can trigger that is using new prop. So I'm gonna give you a new example here, right? So comment C, updating stage, trigger hooks using new props. So suppose I have a component here, new props, I have a component called new props. So 3 trigger hooks using new props. New props, right? Yeah, as you can see here is number 3 trigger hooks using new props, right? So right here I add br. So do you remember how we passed the value into the component? Suppose I have name vehicle, and right here you can just simply component prop name is dot props dot name. As you can see here, name vehicle. So when we pass the prop into the component, it should trigger those hooks, but it didn't. Why? Because the initial prop will be ignored. Only the second or the first prop will be ignored, and only the second prop will be will trigger these hooks. What does this mean? So suppose I render this twice and I change it to vehicle live view. Okay, so it means that we just the same component, we pass another prop, second prop, we pass a prop again right here, right? So let's take a look. Oh, we need to copy those. These are 3 hooks at updating stage, right? So there's another one called componentWillReceiveProps. So we just added it here. So componentWillReceiveProps. componentWillReceiveProps. Let's turn it to true. We just delete the second one for the moment, right? So we pass prop name vehicle. See, nothing has been triggered, right? So love you, right? As you can see here, everything has been triggered, and also at the same time the first hook has been triggered, component will receive props, because the first prop is not updating your component, right? Only the second one will, you know, typically update your component. So that's the reason why. So you have to remember that C. No, it doesn't matter. So first or initial or first prop passed to component will be ignored. Only second prop will trigger updating. updates. Trigger components update. Right? So what is the use case of this new prop? So when a component will receive a new prop, because typically we don't want to do this, right? Just render a same component again and passing a different prop here. This is not what we're gonna do, right? This is not recommended at all. So under what kind of scenario you will receive a new prop, the component will receive a new prop. So I'm gonna show you here. So receive new props. Right. So we call it receive. Oh, we call it parent. So for this is a parent class, and copy it and paste it here. Yeah, this is a parent class. So suppose I have a child class or subclass. It's called child. So this is child class or component. Name is props.name. Right. So I don't want to just display all the values or states from the parent class. I want to display it in a hierarchy, right? So I just want to insert this child class here. It's called child. Okay. So right here I need to pass something. It's called name vehicle. Let's go back to this. As you can see here, now this is a parent class, right? So and this is a child class name vehicle, and this vehicle is a prop. We pass this from parent class, as you can see here, right? We pass this from parent class. This is the initial or first prop we pass into the child class or subclass. So suppose I pass it as a state, so name vehicle. So right here, this is this.state.name. Name vehicle, same thing, right? So suppose I have a button here. Click me to receive new prop. Right. So on click dot this dot new prop. Right. Now we need a new prop function. So in this function we change the state. Right? So there is a very this is a ordinary or regular use case, right? Sometimes we want to click the button and then the state will be changed, right? And after the state modification, you pass the state to the current subclass to display it, right? So let's do, yep. Now I click this button, says click me to receive new prop. As you can see, it becomes to Fico sister, right? So now we're back to this, and we get these hooks. Yep, and we should paste it here in the child class or subclass, because this class have received uprop, right? So yep, refresh the page. I click the button. Yeah, as you can see, everything has been triggered, right? So this is a popular use case of this. When you want to accept a new prop, you just probably, because the state in the parent class has changed, then they passed the state value as a prop to their child class or a subclass or child component or subcomponent. Then you will receive a new prop. So in this case, Fico sister, right? So all those things has been triggered, right? So last thing is unmounting stage, right? We have already used this before. It's called a.componentWillUnmount, right? So test hook at unmounting stage. So def unmount strict barbell React class on mount, right? So for unmount this component, so we have button, click me to unmount this component, right? So in this button we ban a function on click this dot remove, right? So remove, so remember that API, so API is react DOM dot unmount component at node, and in this you pass a node here, document get element by ID, and ID is on mount. Back to the page. Back to the page, and then we click unmount. The whole component has been unmount, right? So now we define the function here. Component will unmount. Component will unmount. Let's click this number 4. Click me to unmount this component. Click this. As you can see, the component has been unmount, and this shows. So component will unmount, right? So this function, this hook function has been triggered. So yeah, this is pretty much about the the left circle diagram, right? We have tested all the hooks in this example. So at last, I'm gonna add one thing. So I'm gonna clarify that only 3 hooks or callback function are frequently used. So first is componentDidMount. Usually in this function, in this callback function, or in this hook, we do start a timer or send HTTP request or subscribe something. And another one is componentWillUnmount. This is also useful because we clear a timer and unsubscribe something. The HTTP request has already been sent, so we cannot do anything. So the last one is render. This is the most most popular. This is most frequently used hook, right? In the component. Okay, so this is pretty much about the old version of React Lifecycle, and in next class we're gonna talk about the newer version Lifecycle. Yeah, this is pretty much about old version Lifecycle today.